Soviet Union 1917 to 1964. The impact of war communism. The problems with war communism was the systematic use of the checker, spying on factory workers, the enforced grain requisitions, the increase in Bolshevik unpopularity, and the fact that disease had started to spread very quickly. The Kronstadt uprising, 1921. These were a group of sailors who had a history of mutinies. If you remember the Potemkin mutiny a few years back when Nicholas was still on the throne, they had been disillusioned with the Bolsheviks and they weren't getting the socialism that they thought they would be getting. They asked for a return of political freedoms. Lenin denounced the uprising and Trotsky ordered the Red Army to attack the soldiers. On the 17th of March, the government took control of Kronstadt. 8,000 people left Kronstadt for Finland and over 500 sailors were executed. The VOLGA famine. 5 million died, but some people say that it's actually 8 million. The total amount isn't fully known, but yeah. The total crop yield in 1921 was half of that in 1913. They were usually prepared by storing a year's grain, but because of grain requisitioning, this didn't happen. People fled to the city, which wasn't that much better than in the countryside. They were encouraged to grind bones to make flour for bread, but this made disease spread so much easier, such as dysentery and typhoid. As a result, they got help from the American Relief Association, which is ironic because America is a capitalist country. This employed over 300 Americans and 120,000 Russians, which imported over millions of tons of grain and fed over 10 million people. The UK helped with some relief as well. They fundraised for famine relief, and in September they shipped 600 tons of resources for Russia, and in October they opened a feeding center in Saratov. By 1923 the famine had ended, the drought had broken, and there was enough grain seed that had been imported by the American Relief Association. The Bolsheviks relaxed requisitioning when starting the next economic policy, which was the new economic policy. The TAMBOV revolt. Previous peasant unrest was really badly organized and so far was really easy to repress. However, the TAMBOV revolt was coordinated by a social revolutionary called Antonov. This was only 300 miles from Moscow, the new capital, and therefore it was a really big threat compared to other ones. They were against grain requisitioning, and 70,000 men from the peasant army had deserted the Red Army in order to join this revolt. Other opposition to war communism was by Alexander Shilepikov and Alexander Kollontai. They led the workers' opposition movement, who accused the Bolshevik leaders of losing touch with the proletariat.